Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to look at another aspect of the chemical reaction, that is kinetics. In the past, when we talked about thermodynamics, basically it helps us to determine if this reaction will occur spontaneous or not. And we can also calculate the energy involved inside chemical reaction. However, thermodynamics will not tell us how quick or how slow this reaction going to happen. And that is why we are going to introduce kinetics. That basically is the study of the speed of a chemical reactions. Besides telling us how fast or how slow the reaction is, kinetics also can help us understand the reaction mechanism, the step-by-step description of how reactants become products. When we care about kinetics, for example, if we are thinking about the drug stability, the shelf life of the drug on the counter, if it decomposes super fast and before it reaches to the patient, it's already decomposed, then that will not be a good thing. So when you think about that post process being slow, so that is where we see the kinetics. As chemists or the biochemists, we really need to study the reaction mechanism of the reaction, so that is also involve the kinetics. And for the engineer in the factory, if you want to process some product in a very time efficient manner, then we need to care about the reaction to be faster. So how to control that kinetics to raise up temperature, how to get a higher rate. That is why we care about chemical kinetics. Kinetics measured in reaction rate. And what we are measuring here is the change of concentration of either reactant or product, and over the certain time, the change in time. So when we are talking about this concentration specifically, this concentration we are referred to the molarity, so the quantity concentration molarity. And a lot of time you will see people writing this as equals the delta of the concentration over the delta T. So in science, the delta always showing the change, and specifically the final minus initial. So what does that mean? If we are looking at, for example, we have a reaction that starts with H3OH. Okay, this is a methanol react with HCl, and HCl is a acid. So what's going to happen here is it will form a product H3Cl with water. Okay, this is a neutralization reaction. And if we are looking at this reaction rate, if we express it as a reactant, so because reaction happens, the reactant concentration will decrease, meaning what? The final concentration will be lower than the initial concentration. And for the rate, we always have a positive number of value. So we have to put a negative sign in here if we use the concentration change of your reactant. For example, here CH3OH, that is our reactant, delta T. And also that will equal to negative delta of HCl divided by delta T. So what we are looking at here, this is the reactant disappearance. So that's why we have this negative sign. Let me highlight this negative sign. And if we want to express the rate in terms of the appearance of product, if product make more and more, so the delta concentration of the product will be a positive to begin with. Okay, so we don't need that negative sign divided by delta T, also equals to delta water over delta T. What we are looking here is the product's appearance. When we are talking about chemical reactions, that is old bond breaking and new bond forming, what we are seeing here is just a rearrangement of the item that they will create a new bond. For example, what we are looking at here is a reaction that between natural gas, the methane with oxygen, and create a new product that is carbon dioxide with hard water, and with energy that is released by positive 211 kcal. The way this equation right here, basically your energy is as a product, meaning what? This reaction actually release energy to surroundings. Meaning it's an exothermic reaction to begin with. This is exothermic reaction, meaning delta H actually is a negative sign. Okay, so that is this reaction. So when we talk about this reaction, when we think about chemical reaction, the molecule basically they have a kinetic energy. They are going to bump to each other, collide with each other with a sufficient energy, and then with that sufficient energy the bond will break, and that minimum amount of energy that required for this chemical reaction is so-called activation energy. It has to get that activation energy in order to overcome that energy barrier, in order to break the old bond and form the new bond. If this activation energy is very high, meaning this molecule need to overcome a very high energy barrier in order to form the bond and break the bond. That meaning the rate will become lower. So in general, if you have activation energy that is high, then the reaction rate will be lower. Now we are going to look at a so-called energy reaction coordinate diagram. What we are seeing here is a coordinate that in the y-axis is so-called potential energy, that is energy that's involved inside this reaction, and the x-axis is reaction progress from left to right. It's basically the reactant to the product. To product or products. And what we are seeing here is for a exothermic reaction, your product always will have a lower energy compared to the reactant, because that delta H will get a negative sign. And for the endothermic reaction, the delta H will be a positive sign. And from the reactant to the product, it needs to go over this energy barrier, and the difference between the top of this energy barrier to the starting reactant, that energy difference is so-called activation energy. So the reactant have to go overcome that minimum requirement energy in order for this reaction to happen. So for our example reaction, because this reaction releases energy, so it's exothermic reaction. So it will fit into this energy reaction diagram. There are several factors that affect the reaction rate. First of all is the structure of reacting species and also the molecular shape and orientation. So when the chemical reaction happens, molecules collide with each other from different directions, and if the molecule is big, then they have a hard time to collide with each other to break the old bond and form the new bond. Also, it has to have a correct direction to bond to each other in order to break the bond. And another factor is the concentration of the reactant. If you have a higher concentration, meaning that you will have a more reactant that bump to each other to increase the chance that they will collide with each other with sufficient energy. So that is a concentration. And for temperature of the reactant, that also will affect on the reaction rate. Specifically, if you have increasing temperature, the reaction rate will be higher. The reason why is when you increase the temperature, you are increasing the kinetic energy, so the molecules will move faster. When they are moving faster, colliding to each other will have a better chance. So that is for the temperature. And also physical state of the reactant also will dictate the reaction rate, because if you have gas to gas react with each other, they have freedom to bump to each other much more compared to the solid to solid. And also the last thing is catalyst. So when you have a catalyst, it will change the reaction pathway that will make the reaction faster. So you may ask, what is a catalyst? A catalyst is just a substance that increases the reaction rate, and the reaction will undergo different pathways in terms of decrease the activation energy. So decrease activation energy that will make the reaction faster. So that is a catalyst. Now we are going to look at one example to see how we can write out the reaction rate. For example, we are going to have a reaction that is a natural gas react with 3 hydrogen gas. That will give you 2 ammonium. At this moment is a gas. Okay, and the equation tells us that 1 mole of natural gas with 3 mole of hydrogen gas will produce 2 mole of ammonium gas. And what we are going to write out here is the rate of this reaction. So first of all, if we are write the rate refer to the natural gas, so because it's a reactant, that will be the negative sign, reaction disappearance, negative sign, delta of the concentration of your natural gas divided by delta T. The next one, we are going to use hydrogen as a reference to see the hydrogen concentration change. So the delta of concentration of hydrogen, and since it is the reactant, we are going to have negative sign with delta T. However, before we move forward, now we are going to really look at the rate we write out for now if it is correct or incorrect. If we are looking at this reaction, natural gas, 1 natural gas react with 3 mole of hydrogen gas and produce 2 mole of the ammonium gas. So what we are seeing here is the hydrogen gas will disappearance 3 times faster compared to the disappearance of natural gas. So just by simply doing the concentration divided by the delta T, that actually will not be true. So since the hydrogen disappearance is faster than the natural disappearance, we have to incorporate the coefficient here in order to make this writing out true. So 1/3 of the disappearance of natural gas rate will be equal to the disappearance rate of nitrogen. That will be true because the hydrogen disappearance is 3 times faster compared to the nitrogen. And we are going to use this idea to write out also the appearance of ammonium gas, since ammonium gas appearance 2 times faster than the disappearance is nitrogen. So 1/2 of the appearance of ammonium gas will be the disappearance of nitrogen gas. So remember that stoichiometry relationship need to be counted. The last part of this lecture, we are going to introduce so-called rate law. And so far, when we write out the rate, that's basically based on the definition of the reaction rate to look at the disappearance or appearance of the reactant and the product in terms of the change of the time. However, when we write the rate law is directly associated with the concentration of the reactant. So rate the dependence of rate on the concentration of reactants. So nothing to do with the products now. Okay, so how to write it out? For the rate law, usually we'll write as rate equals to a little k times the concentration of a reactant 1 to the power of m times the reactant 2 to the power of n times reactant, keep going. It's really dependent on how many reactant inside this reaction. So that is how you write out the rate law. And in this equation, the first term k is so-called rate constant. It's just a number that's experimentally determined, and it is for certain temperatures. So the K rate constant is temperature dependent. And for the M and N, and if you have other numbers, this numbers is also determined experimentally, and is nothing to do with the coefficient of a chemical equation. And what does this M and N tells you? If you add the number M and N together, will tell you the overall order of a reaction. So you may say, what does that mean? For example, if we say I have a rate that's equal to k times a to the power of 0, so it gives us two information. First of all, this reaction rate is solely depends on reactant A, and also it is a zeroth order reaction. If I say rate equal to sometimes times A to the power of 1, that again is only depend on the reactant A, and this is the first order reaction because the power is to the power of 1. If the rate equal to, for example, K equal to A to the power of 1, B to the power of 2, meaning what? This reaction really depends on concentration of A and the concentration of the B, and the n plus n 1 plus 2 is 3. The overall reaction order is third order reaction. So that is a rate law. Now we are going to use the idea of rate law to write out the rate law expression. For example, we are going to have this reaction right here. This is ionic equation to begin with. We'll have this polyatomic ion in aqueous solution and plus 3I iodide also in aqueous solution, and it's going to produce 2 sulfate ion and plus I3 minus. So this I3 minus is just one polyatomic ion right here. Now we are going to write the rate law out. So rate law for this reaction rate equal to K, and we have 2 reactants. So the first one is S2O8, 2 minus, and to the power of what? M, because I don't know what order. And then the other reactant I minus iodide, and to the power of N. And I want you to pay attention to here is M and N is not defined. Okay, we don't know yet because we cannot use just the coefficient. It's nothing to do with the coefficient right here. So now the scientists determined that the M If m equal to 1 and n also equals to 1, then that meaning m plus n equal to 2. That gives us a second order reaction. Okay, so that is how you write out the rate law.